Hello everyone, my name is Mimi. Welcome back to my channel. When the original The Devil Wears Prada came out 20 years ago, I became obsessed with it. I was in year 11 then, at a point in my life when I was beginning to seriously think about my future. And the movie was one of the things that pushed me toward fashion design. I still remember the day I saw the film with my high school friends. It truly felt like one of those defining moments in my life. Since then, I went on to study fashion at uni. Worked in the industry for 6 years, then came a major crash and burnout. And now I'm in the process of finding my way back to that love and rediscovering what fashion means to me. Then I came across the news that Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway, the two stars of the original film, were coming to South Korea to promote The Devil Wears Prada 2. They were even holding a fan event where attendees would get the chance to see them on the red carpet. I entered the competition to win an invitation, but honestly I didn't expect anything to come of it. I never win these kinds of things, like ever. So when the notification came through saying I'd won and that I was going to see Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway up close, I was completely in shock. The event was happening on Wednesday evening and I got the notification on Monday night. It felt like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I knew I had to make something for it. Inspired by the bold red gala look from the trailer and the poster, I set out to create a 3D model of Miranda Priestly as an art toy. I had to plan very carefully and be realistic about what I could actually achieve. I would have loved to make a full ball-jointed doll, but since I only had less than 2 days, it simply wasn't possible, even if I gave up sleep entirely. The 3D model doesn't resemble Meryl Streep as closely as I would have liked, but I still love the overall feeling of the model. I put a lot of time into sculpting the skirt, but printing it would have taken far too long, so I chose to create that part in fabric instead. And here are the printed parts. The arms didn't print properly, so I reprinted them together with the legs while working on the face-up. The first thing I do with the printed parts is remove the support marks using an electric nail file. I also keep my dust collector running so the resin dust doesn't go everywhere. After that, I wet sand the parts with a finer grit sandpaper to prepare the surface. After giving the face 3 coats of Mr. Super Clear sealant, I began the face up by blushing the cheeks, forehead and chin to bring more life to the face. Since the face was so small and I didn't have a lot of time, I decided to go for a bolder, more graphic look. So once the general blushing was done, I moved straight on to the painting stage. I'm using white gouache paint to fill in the whites of the eyes. When I modeled the face, I added sculpted details for the pupils and eyebrows so the features would be evenly placed, which meant I didn't have to think too much about symmetry here. Using blue, I painted Meryl Streep's eyes. I had a hard time figuring out her exact eye color at first, but after looking at photos online, they appeared to be a very striking blue. Using gray, I filled in her eyebrows. Molded details can sometimes be a drawback for doll customizers because they can feel limiting, but when it's your own sculpt, they save so much time by taking the guesswork out of getting the symmetry right. After just a few layers, I was happy with how the face-up was looking, so I moved on to adding the finer details. And here is the finished face-up. Usually I end up redoing the face-up 3 times for a video, but this time I was happy with the result on the first try. I didn't have time to print the hair in a separate color, so I painted it using watered down acrylic in several layers to achieve a smooth finish. Unfortunately, I didn't have any red fabric on hand, so I decided to make the skirt from calico and spray paint it red with the same paint I used on the bodice. Using super glue, I assembled all the parts, and the Miranda Priestly art toy was finished just before I had to head out. I took a taxi because I was afraid of being late, and set off feeling so excited. Spring was in full bloom, the weather was perfect, and knowing how chaotic the event would probably be, I decided to soak in the calm and enjoy the moment while it lasted. After getting my wristband, I explored the venue for a bit. I do wish I had taken more footage of my art toy, but it was the first time I had ever brought one of my dolls out in public, and I felt very self-conscious. Then, 4 hours before the event, I had to move into the designated area for attendees, and the long excruciating wait began. Finally, the event began with an incredible fashion show. And then finally, the moment we had all been waiting for arrived. When I showed Anne Hathaway the art toy I created and asked her to sign it, this is what she said.
Oh, it's beautiful! I love it. You make that? I love it.
I know Anne Hathaway probably won't remember my art toy, and that her compliment was likely just a kind moment of politeness, but to me, it meant everything. Of course, I was sad that I wasn't able to get Meryl Streep's signature, but even so, that brief interaction with Anne Hathaway made the whole experience feel incredibly special. And here she is, my Miranda Priestly art toy, signed by Anne Hathaway, which still feels so surreal to say out loud. I hope you liked the video, and if you made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing. I know this video ended up being a little different from my usual repaint videos, but I hope you still had a good time watching. Thank you so much and see you soon.